This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Hey folks, we have a new sponsor here at the Crypto Conversation. Today's episode is brought to you by Coinsbee.com, the go-to platform for spending your crypto. With the biggest selection of brands across all gift card platforms and live in over 185 countries, Coinsbee supports the most relevant local brands for your everyday needs. They support more than 200 cryptocurrencies and offer a vast product range from gift cards, game points to mobile phone top-ups. Can't find what you're looking for? No worries. Coinsbee also offers Visa and MasterCard prepaid cards. So just go to Coinsbee.com and turn your digital assets into real-world possibilities. And now it is on with the show. My guest today is Tomer Afek. Tomer is the CEO and co-founder of Spacemesh, a layer 1 proof of space-time protocol. Fascinating. I'm sure we'll learn all about this today. Welcome to the show, Tomer.
Hey, brilliant. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here, Tomer. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. Be great if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear a little bit about who you are, your story, and what you've been doing in the lead up to co-founding Spacemesh.
Wow. So my career has... this is my third, I would say, chapter. The first one was as a VC investor in a vehicle called Evergreen. That's a domestic VC out of Israel. Been doing that for a decade and had the privilege of, say, watching the industry morph from doing large bets, say $5 million bets after 6 months due diligence, into a whole different mode of operation where you invest sometimes even as small as $500,000 was 2 weeks of due diligence. And the industry, the speed, the mentality, the way they take decision, I've had the privilege of witnessing all that change. I've then left that to become an entrepreneur. The entrepreneurship has been remarkably interesting. I've managed to sell my company, and the whole experience as an entrepreneur from changing a company all the way to selling it has been really mind expanding. And the last chapter began about 5 years ago when I could finally afford doing something with more passion, and that was to become a blockchain entrepreneur or a builder in public. And the past 5 years have been about creating what we call now the people's coin, and that is the first cryptocurrency that everybody can mine from home using a home PC, not requiring any special equipment or any special knowledge. It was a very long and very demanding ride, but I'm very, very pleased with what we've managed to come up with. I think that we already have something like 30,000 concurrent miners on the network right now. And yeah, I think the protocol is extremely easy to mine and cost you nothing to attempt to mine. So I believe that it will just grow and grow and grow over time, and that's very, very exciting, and also has the potential to become a more trustworthy money system that the people, everyday people at large use as a medium of exchange and not only as a store of value.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, I believe the idea, Toma, was originally you and your team were frustrated by, once Bitcoin mining became industrialized and it was no longer really feasible for individuals to just try and mine a Bitcoin at home because they couldn't compete with the industrial mining farms. And so the idea with Spacemesh is to create something that you see as you said, the people's coin, something that is a bit more fair and equal, and anyone who wants to can jump on board the network and start mining.
Yep. And I think the Bitcoin originally had the same plan to be a magic internet money that everybody can join via mining from home. I think that vision went south when basically the mining industry got industrialized, and now it's not feasible for a home miner to expect to be profitable mining Bitcoin from home. And I think that Bitcoin lost something when it lost that ability. A money system needs to remain open. It needs to remain such that is free from capture and from some, oligarchy or elite minority that is now calling the shots on everybody. So basically the way to avoid it is to have a money system that is always open to a new joiner from the wild. I think multiple things are novel and unique in Spacemesh and makes them, makes Spacemesh worthy of a contender to the people coin. One of which is the fact that you can mine it as is, not requiring any special equipment or any prior knowledge or anything of that nature. The other thing is the fairness towards the smaller miners, meaning that, unlike in Bitcoin, the smallest miner, meaning the one that uses the minimum hardware requirement, is guaranteed to be treated as fairly and as, paid as frequently and on the same basis as something like a whale. And yes, this is why I think that more and more people will join Spacemesh over time, and I cannot see why it won't have something like beyond 1 million miners in a reasonable time period, and that would be, again, substantially more, 2 orders of magnitude more than any other cryptocurrency in the history to date.
Sure, I can see, Toma, that you guys you launched mainnet launch of the protocol 14th of July. So not that long ago. How long were you working on this before mainnet launch?
The idea began to be discussed in 2017. The first funding came in 2018. And I will make it 5 years that this project is in the making. I think that the vast majority of the time was spent on the science, on the cryptographic research and proving the project is eventually now a product of some 5 full-time cryptographers, some of which, like Professor Moran or Dr. Ido Bentov, are combining this with some academic career. Others are full-time into the crypto space right now, but novelty of the Spacemesh protocol on the scientific side is immense, as I've mentioned, and I think the few things that are worthy of attention here is the fairness of the protocol as a result of the fact that it is not a Nakamoto consensus. There is no race. There is no lottery. There is no luck involved with calculating the rewards that you'll be getting over a given period of time. And that is, again, that is important both for the fairness of it, but also so that you have an instinctive value of the worth of Spacemesh. So if you know that it takes you 3 days to mine any coin, and you see something costing 3 Smash, then you know it'll take you 9 days to mine that amount of money. And as a result, you have some first principles ability to gauge what is the cost of everything when compared with the rate that you yourself is generating Smash on a frequent basis. Lastly, I would add what we call self-healing. The self-healing is an element that I believe most biological systems have, in which that is that if something goes wrong, once that something that caused it to go wrong is gone, the system is healing back to its original healthy state. And this is something that a component that was neglected by almost all the proof of stake protocols. So as of now, Spacemesh is a combination of what is novel and unique in the proof of stake world with respect to the adaptiveness and the programmability, but it sustains the good qualities that the proof of work has, which is ultimate permissionless and high level of decentralization and basically a binding and anchoring to something real with a cost in real life, so as to provide liquidity, stability, and basically binding to the money system, which is, I find it very, very crucial in reducing obstruction and minimizing free energy in a system. And if that topic and is of interest, we can go deeper down that route, but I think there is an obvious difference between a proof of stake and a proof of work consensus with that respect, with the binding and that anchoring to something that has value external to the money system.
Yes, and that's why you call it Spacemesh, Toma, because the consensus is called proof of space or proof of space time, and you have like a DAG, a directed acrylic graph, which is like a mesh, right? So space mesh.
Absolutely. 2 innovations. One is the replacement of proof of work with something like a proof of space-time. That is the consensus protocol that Professor Moran has invented back in, I'd say, 2016. And another innovation called Mesh Cache. Mesh Cache is a protocol that was invented by Dr. Ido Bentov and Professor Moran. Again, also around that period, 16, 17. And as I mentioned, late 2017, I've approached both Professor Moran and Dr. Bentov and offered them to combine what is the proof of space-time with what is this mesh cache to create together what we now call Spacemesh, the replacement of proof of work with a proof of space-time within the mesh cache topology was extremely non-trivial, we can discuss why, or on one leg, the idea is that in a proof of work, the proof is bounded to your proposal. So every time you want to speak, you need to have a proof that is combined with that speaking. And if you want to let go of that demand of needing to create a proof every time you want to speak, if you want to reuse an original proof time and time again, that means that you would need to do something entirely different than the Nakamoto consensus. And yeah, this is, I believe, again, I think from a mathematical or a technological or a scientific standpoint, this is a very novel aim, which we believe will combine the best of both the proof of work and the proof of stake worlds into creating something that is a better hybrid of both.
Very nice, very nice. And I like the way, Toma, instead of mining, we call it smeshing. So you smesh. And I see that the coin cap for Spacemesh is 2.4 billion to be smeshed over 941 years. That's quite a long time.
Yeah, I think that Spacemesh is, we've spent so much time, energy, resources, and the best brains in the world on. We're expected to achieve something like maturity within a decade, and we expect it to become something like the most used cryptocurrency worldwide, or the cryptocurrency that is held by the largest amount of everyday people, and the very slow, very gradual decay is an ability to create something like stability. The medium of exchange function of the coin is contingent on the fact that everything is very smooth, everything is very, non-bumpy. There are no halvings, as in Bitcoin. Rather, the amount of coins in circulation is, just like Bitcoin, there is an exponential decay, but that decay is decaying far slower than Bitcoin. I'm sure you've heard the story about Bitcoin having 21 million, and what will happen once the last coin will be minted and the network will need to transition from something like subsidy to something like transaction fees only. And will Bitcoin behave during that transition, or will the miners begin to cut throat to one another, and so on? I think in Spacemesh, there is something like a subsidy that continues over the next, as you mentioned, 900 years. And that is for effectively any time soon. We will not have any of those bumps. I think that the other, again, dominant thing that we do differently than Bitcoin is the fact that we have a smart contract computer, which is along or more akin to something like an EVM with its capacities, very different than the scripting language, for example, that Bitcoin has, but without giving away all that proof of stake had given away, such as the anchoring the bind to something in real life, and the fairness and the honesty of a money system that uses a bind as opposed to proof of stake. We can compare that to having a balloon that for as long as everybody inside the balloon believes they don't care about what's going on in the outside, and something like a proof of work is a balloon that is grounded to reality, and as a result, it cares about things outside of it, unlike a proof of stake chain that is basically, for as long as the internal consensus is intact, they don't care about what's going on outside.
I can see also you've got there's an interesting range of core investors into Spacemesh, probably maybe from some years ago, but Polychain, Paradigm, Metastable, Dragonfly Capital, Coinbase Ventures, pretty big names, Tomer.
Oh yeah, we've been lucky. I feel privileged to be working with those incredible investors. I think that Polychain and Paradigm and Electric Capital and Hasib from Dragonfly and Coinbase Venture, all the names that you've mentioned are really the best the industry has to offer. I think the way we've decided to conduct our affairs, the modesty and the low burn rate is a testament to our hope and vision to achieve something that is truly trusted by, millions of people worldwide. And the fact that we wanted to raise very little amount of money in order to live up to our values of not leaving a big footprint on the blockchain was created some scarcity effect, basically. There was very little room to invest, and all the investors got to have something like 10% of what they wanted to own initially. And as a result of that scarcity, we were able to be choosers and had interest from basically all the large investors in the industry, and were able to choose the names that we feel are mostly aligning with our values, aligning with our ethos and with what we're trying to build. And there were definitely other offers, more, expensive offers. I am very pleased that we chose to go with those reputed great investors. And for any founder out there that is listening, I'd say something like, strongly recommend taking the, bigger brand type investors if you can, as opposed to some, smaller funds that are managing $30 million and are looking for bargains or whatnot. Those would spend much of your time as a founder. And I think that the bigger names, if you have access to them, are really better partners for a long run, for a decade-long project together.
Look, Spacemesh, it sounds amazing, looks amazing, Tomer, but how do you hope to try and get it out to the masses? How do you hope to raise awareness and convince people to come and start mining on Spacemesh?
Great question. I think that there are, number one, what one needs to understand in that regards is that you can hack some people some of the time, but you can't hack all the people all the time. So the ultimate answer, Andy, to your question is that you do what you think is right and you leave the consequences to code or to God, however you want to say. But I think that we've been focusing on trying to do the most infinite thing at any junction, and just hope that the people will pick up on this and react to this. Other things that we're doing is we've brought an innovation that would make the barrier of entry much lower. So if I'm a 16-year-old kid, Spacemesh is the only coin I would know how to mine. And so emphasis on fairness, emphasis on basically inclusivity, reducing the barrier of entry so more people with less education can enjoy and can join. This is creating a higher quality money system. If you think about a money system from that lens, and you'd say something like, okay, if there is one money system that provides more stability, more adaptivity to its users, to communities that choose to conduct their affairs on that point, what you would have is other money system, the decision to conduct your business on another money system where one with higher fidelity or higher fitness payoffs already exist would be weird, right? So ultimately, groups that want to succeed would choose the money system that provides them highest adaptiveness or highest fitness payoffs, and so getting the attention sounds like a one-time thing, but our strategy is to build the best possible money system and to have people join as a result. What has been working recently for us very nicely as an anecdote of how to achieve mass usage is that people, either because they are, for example, a non-for-profit, or because they are artists, or on multiple other occasions, they have a lot of followers, but they don't have money, right? I mean, we can think of many, many such people. And on that occasion, what I can do for you is I can make you a SMAP, an application. For example, we are talking now with Lady Gaga and with some Robert De Niro newly founded foundation for, I don't know, that I think it was fentanyl. There is really a crisis of painkillers in the US right now that is taking down a lot of children, sadly, and to raise the awareness to that. Like, but the general thing here is that I can give you, as the foundation, I can give you an application that takes the mining proceeds, and 80% of them, for example, goes to the person who mines, and 20% goes to the foundation that is distributing this app. So as somebody who wants to raise the awareness to something, you have a customized app, and now you're asking your followers, please mine, do yourself a favor and mine, but also 20% of whatever it is that the people that use my application to mine are basically being sent to an address of my wallet. And as a result, this is one example of how do you can envision this distributed. But ultimately, what we're selling is money printing software. So I believe that this democratization of money printing, if you will, is kind of an easy thing, and it will gain more and more attention over time from the mere fact that it's the thing that requires you the least amount of know-how or equipment. So it's like water, if you understand. They go through the point of least resistance.
Of course. Be like water. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Tomer. Look, for people who are interested in Spacemesh and the vision that you've described and perhaps want to start mining, tell people where they should go to learn more. What should they do?
Yeah, brilliant. I think the mining process has basically two parts. One part is the initialization, and the second part is just ongoing mining. So you'd go to spacemesh.io, and you will download there the file. It's there's a Windows file, there's a Mac OS file, there's a Linux file, just like you're familiar from installing, I don't know, Telegram. And once you are doing this next, you are basically, the protocol is asking where on your drive do you want to give me some space, and you choose a folder. You choose a drive with some free space and a folder on that drive, and then there is a process that might take up to 1 week where you fill the drive with some cryptographic garbage. And once this init part is concluded, from that point and until, I don't know, 10 years into the future by minimum, you can basically capitalize on that work without requiring any additional work. So one time you fill the drive, and then you leave the client online in the background, just running, and you see more and more money in your wallet every day. And that's a really nice experience, and very low-key experience of mining, which also is rewarding because of the fact that you see the rewards constantly going up. And it's not like, I don't know, when we used to mine Bitcoin at the early days and hope for a reward, but sometimes months would go by without any reward. So in Spacemesh, this does not happen. And you would be receiving some rewards very frequently. And again, this helps to the predictability of the expected outcome from the mining. And it helps you to plan your affairs better and without any unknowns or uncertainties in between. So Spacemesh.io, and the community hangs out in Discord. You can find us on chat.spacemesh.io. And I guess those two places is sufficient for you to start the journey and go onwards from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toma. And of course, I'll put links to spacemesh.io in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on, Toma. All the best, and bye for now.
Pleasure, Andy. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
This episode is sponsored by Coinsbee, your digital pocket for spending crypto. With an extensive selection of brands available in 185 countries and supporting over 200 cryptos, Coinsbee turns your digital assets into gift cards, game points, phone top-ups, and even Visa MasterCard prepaid cards. Plus, with fast checkouts using your favorite crypto, or even speedier with Binance Pay, Coinsbee makes it simple to spend your crypto. Visit Coinsbee.com today and get honey for your crypto money.
All right, there you go. That was Toma from Spacemesh. Yeah, pretty fascinating, really. On a quest to become the people's coin. Join the decentralized revolution with Spacemesh. So yeah, just go to spacemesh.io and yeah, just start mining. Just download the relevant software there for Windows or Mac, whatever, and start smashing. Fascinating. I like it. Might do that myself. All right. Well, thank you for listening, team. That was another episode. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See ya.